let's talk about the Scott Prospects. What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning into this review of the Scott Prospects. Sora, I guess, is going to attempt to help us out. But real quick, before we actually get into this is not a paid endorsement or anything. Allison got these goggles for me for Christmas. She paid complete full retail for these, so Scott didn't send these to me for free. I didn't get paid anything. They didn't ask me to do this. The moment I got the goggles, people were asking me how I liked them. I wanted to do a review, but before doing the review, I wanted to actually put in some track time on them, which I've since done. Right off the bat here, the first thing just about everyone notices with the goggles is they're big. They're like big goggles. And that is simply because, well, it's not because they're made big, but they offer some amazing field of view. Off to the sides, the top, the bottom, everything is big. You can see just everything around you. It's super, super awesome. Now, I'm gonna show my old goggles here, which you guys all know and love, some sweet goggles. Nothing wrong with these goggles, but just look, I mean, I don't know. The size difference, I feel like, is quite noticeable just by looking at them. The size of the lens, just the size of the goggles in general. So this is going to be a little demonstration. These are just two different tear-off covers, if I can get this to focus up here. The brown one is the Scott Prospect tear-off cover. The white one in the front is going to be the other brand goggle that I'm showing here. It's 100%. So I tried to get them as even as possible, just in the middle, but you can see just how much brown is showing around the tops, the sides, and then a little bit on the bottom there, if you can see that. Now, I'm not saying it's a huge difference, but in a sport like motocross, where the tiniest of, millimeters even makes a big difference, having that extra vision, extra field of view helps immensely. You don't really think about it as being a big deal until you get on the bike and you're just like, whoa, it feels like you went from watching in, 4:3 to 16:9, or whatever the measurement is. Hopefully that makes sense. The next thing that's super cool about these Scott Prospects, you have the strap mounted on the outriggers here, which of course is the same thing you got going on with the 100%. However, the 100%, these are solid mounted. Nothing moves, nothing changes with these. They're just there. The Scott Prospects, these pivot. These move a substantial amount here. So if you're gonna do roll-offs, which I don't have any, so I can't show you guys, but you can actually make these come up out of the way, put on your roll-off canisters, obviously it does it on the other side as well, and get them on there. I know a lot of places are no longer allowing tear-offs, so a lot of people are going to the roll-off system, so this really helps. And also, with this being able to flex and move like this, the front part, the foam part, is actually on your face, and this can adjust to kind of match up with how your how your helmet holds the goggles in, and it makes it so these fit incredibly. The only helmet I've tried it on is the only one I have, which is a 6D, and these fit perfectly in the eye port, in the eye hole. They fit close on the face, and I haven't had a single issue with the band on it. With the goggles being bigger, another thing that they made bigger is actually the strap. From what I was reading, this is a 50mm wide strap, and I guess these normal ones are about a 45. So again, that's not a huge difference, but it just gives you more surface area that it's going to attach to. I don't know if I can really show these side by side. Let me try here real quick. So there you go. I can't even really see it. It's not a huge, substantial amount, but it is just that little bit more that's going to help the silicone just grab onto your helmet. It gives you more surface area so that the goggles aren't going to be sliding around. They're going to attach to your helmet nice and good, stay right where you put them. It has this little tab on here, so when you're going to change how big and small you want the goggles, you can simply pull this tab. You can see it right here. You can pull this. So there you go, you can fit it on your head. You're just walking around the pits, you go to get on the bike, and then you can just go back the other way, obviously. And there you go, now you got the big floppy goggles that are gonna fit over your helmet. Of course, another thing you'll notice, it does have the 4 tear-off posts, as opposed to normally goggles just have 1 on each side, so it has 2 on each side for a total of 4. It holds the tear-offs on nice and well, but doesn't make them too hard to pull. They pull off just as normal as any other tear-off, just like that. Another big selling point of the Scott Prospects, just like the Oakley air brakes, is that they change lenses really easily. So you have 4 tabs, 1, 2, 3, 4. These actually slide into the goggle. The goggles have little circle pin or circles, and these have a pin that go through those circles. So we're just gonna pop these out real quick. Try and show you guys as I'm doing this. I haven't perfected it, but when you pull it, you can see that they just pop out just like that. Pretty straightforward, pretty easy to figure out. The first time you do them, they're a little bit stiff. You kind of got to break them in, but you do this a few times and they start to loosen up. And I don't mean loose like they're going to fall out, but they just, you know, slide nice and easily. So now all we have to do is pop open the goggle. He's accidentally shut on me a little bit. There we go. Pop open the goggle, we got the lens out. The goggles come with both the mirrored tinted lens, and then it comes with an extra completely clear lens. I'm hoping this weekend is sunny. The past few weekends it's been kind of overcast, so I've been running the clear one, but we're gonna put back in the tinted one. And I always run, if you can see, yeah, you can see it on there, I run a single tear off that I've cut the flap off of, and I have that on both goggles. So I always just have a base layer, and then I'll put my tear offs over that. So I'm never pulling this actual one. I just like to do it and kind of protect the lens. So here we have the goggle frame. We're just gonna slip in one side. Of course, these are nice and bendable, so we can easily just move it around how we need. So now the 2 sides are in. Then the top, we're gonna, of course, find that little groove in the frame. As with anything, a little bit more practice with these and you'll be able to change them out extremely fast. So I got the whole top in now, so I'm just going to go ahead and lock down just by pushing these in. Whoops, get that in a little bit better. Lock in the top, and now I'll work the bottom. Just sliding it into the frame opening on the rubber part. Making sure we get it in all the way. And of course, I just accidentally, as I was working on that, I closed the holder thing. So obviously you got to make sure that's open so that the goggle can fall into that pin. So there we go. We got the bottom all contained. So now we're just going to snap, snap, and there you go. I'm obviously not going to pull super hard, but pulling hard enough that if it wasn't done, and so I'm doing that on camera, that only took me a few seconds, more than a few seconds, but super easy to do. And there you go. So now I got the lenses changed out, and of course we can just throw these tear offs back on because we just took them off for this video. But the 2 posts on our right side, the 2 posts on our left side, and then when you buy tear offs, they come with this pin that you can put on your goggle strap. It also has one on the outrigger, but I use this one over here. So we'll attach the final little post to there, and then of course we can stack our tear offs. So we put on our second tear off, which is essentially our third because we have that protector layer on there. Now this is where, if you've never done tear offs, the way that you stack these together, we're gonna fold this one underneath, and we have this opening circle here, and we're gonna put that over the pin. So the opening circle's over the pin, and then we're gonna take the next one, and we're gonna put that opening, whoops, as I slip on that, pop that onto the pin. So this way we have one tear off flap here, and when we pull this tear off, it's going to pop the next one out. Essentially like a box of tissues. So now this one's ready to pull. So we just fold this over onto the pin. Put this one, you want to make sure you don't get it too bunched up underneath there. Of course, it's a lot easier to do when you just have the goggles on a flat surface, not trying to hold them up for the camera. So got that, and then the third one will do the exact same thing. You always want to have your tear off tab on your left side so you can still control the throttle with your right hand. At least that's how I think of it. I know everyone runs it on, well, pros run it on their left side, and I assume that's the reasoning. Tear off's kind of slipped off there. But yet again, we're gonna roll this one back onto the pin, put this one over top of it, hook it onto the pin. So now we have our one tab, and you can see we have two underneath here that are rolled up and ready to bunch out. So there you guys have it. That is kind of the perks and benefits of these Scott Prospects, kind of how they work, how you can change the lenses super easily, the tear-offs on them, the bigger strap here, the outriggers that actually move so they fit better in your eye port, and the look of them. When I first saw these, I fell in love. They're essentially Scott's version of the air brake. We can all agree on that. The air brake though, I don't, the nose piece, I know this is so silly and just ridiculous, but I don't like how they look. Just to be totally honest, I don't like how they look. These I feel like have a much meaner, aggressive look. The nose piece I absolutely love. I actually had someone try them on at the track, and they said, I like these way more than my air brakes. My air brakes smush my nose. I've never worn air brakes, but he said the air brakes smush my nose. These feel way better, and they're a heck of a lot cheaper. So there you guys go. I haven't had a single problem. They vent super well, but not like, it's not like air's flowing in all crazy. The first time I rode in these, it was a very cold day. These actually kept my face extremely warm. They are cool looking. They're affordable. They're made by a great company. I mean, usually when you think of goggle companies, you'll think of like Oakley and Scott. At least I do. Those are like the main competitors that have been around for a long time. They know their stuff with goggles, and you will not be disappointed with the Scott Prospects. Yet again, this is all coming straight from me. Scott didn't pay me. Scott didn't give me these goggles for free. I did win a random set of goggles on Scott's Instagram giveaway. That has nothing to do with this though. But totally just my thoughts and feelings, and I just want to share it with the world. A lot of people were asking me, so there it is, you guys. But get yourself one. I think they retail for about, they might retail for 90. You can get them online for like 80, and they're badass. So let me know what you guys think. If you wear some, if you get some, tell me all about them. Tell me your experiences. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, as always, take it easy. If it's easy, take it twice. We'll talk to you later.